Hey, hello everyone, Adit here, and today I'm really excited to talk about my latest solopreneur venture, BookStates, which is now live at bookstates.app. BookStates is your personal reading companion through which you can not only track your reading, but you can also reflect on your reading journey through interesting insights. You can uncover your unique intellectual signature, and you can also discover books visually in innovative ways. Now, I'm a big fan of Show Don't Tell, so let's just dive in. We'll start with a new account because I want to show you how easy it is to get started with BookStates. So we'll sign in, and once you are in, you will see that it's very easy to add your books here. You can either just click on add your first book and do a normal book search and add that book, but you can also import your existing library from GoodReads or StoryGraph. And importing is like pretty straightforward. You click here and just drop in your CSV, and BookStates will take care of everything in the background. You don't have to worry about your ratings and reviews that you have given on your Goodreads account. Everything will be imported here. There'll be no data loss of any kind. So I would highly recommend that if you have a Goodreads account, do upload your CSV here and get your books to BookStates. Now I've already gone ahead and done that for my account, and BookStates really shines when you have books here. So let's switch to my account and see what BookStates experience is really like. Okay, so we'll sign in. I have 600 odd books in my account. Okay, so we are in, and right now you can see on the home page that it is cleanly divided into different sections, and these sections correspond to the reading state of your book, and hence the name Book States. So at the very top, you see the books that you are currently reading and which are up next. Then you have all the books that you have read, followed by books that you want to read later at some point of time. There is also a dedicated section for your wish list. And at the very bottom, you can see a small section of what the BookStates community is reading. These are not all the books, but just a few of them. And feel free to also add any of these books to your account. So let's go to currently reading and up next section, and let's see what we have there. So you can see that there are 4 books right now, 3 of which I'm reading, and one of is in the next up state. So let's click on one of the book cards. Let's pick Mood Machine here. So what you can see is a little bit of metadata about the book, and it's very easy to change your state. So if you click here, you get a drop down, and you can change the current state of your book from reading to next up to later or whatever you would like to wish. It's also very easy to update your reading progress. So I've just started this book, so just into 24 pages. But if you click on update, you can see that if you have a physical book, you can enter the amount of pages you have read, or if you are on any e-reader, you can just update the percentage. Now, if we go down, you can also see that there's a summary of the book and a very interesting thing called as reading motivation. Now, it's an AI insight, and the purpose of having reading motivation here is to motivate you further to read the book and complete the book. So, in this particular case, you can see that the reading motivation tells you that Mood Machine, if you continue reading it, you will get an insights into how algorithms power Spotify playlists and how these playlists influence our emotions and perceptions. So, something pretty interesting to keep you motivated to read the book and complete the book. You also have the option to add your comments and notes here. So this is a little bit about what a book card detail looks like for your currently reading books. But there is also one more interesting thing in the currently reading section. So you see the small flame icon here, and if you click on that, what opens up is your reading streak. Now, nothing motivates us more than seeing that streak going up every single day. So right now you can see that my current streak is of 3 days. My best streak, well, it's also of 3 days right now, and my total reading days are 10. You also see two interesting icons there. There's a tick mark, and then there's a cute little fire emoji. So if you post one update on a day, you get that green tick mark. But if you have multiple updates, you get that fire emoji. I would highly recommend to aim for that cute little fire emoji. You can also change your see your reading streak for not only 90 days but for 30 days, 6 months, or for an year also. At the bottom, you see that there is an overview of your reading summary, how much are your total reading days, what's your daily average, and there's also one more interesting data, that which has been your most active day, active reading day of the week. So in my case, it has been a Sunday. Well, no surprises there. So I have read most on 2 Sundays. You also get to see an activity of all the books that you have read over the past few days, how many pages you have read, which book you read, and just in case if you miss logging that particular update for the book, no worries about that. You can just go to log past reading, you can select the book, and you can just enter the number of pages you read for that particular book. It goes a week back, so you don't have to worry if you miss putting the reading progress on any particular day. So we got you covered. So that's the reading section, currently reading section. But if you go down to read books, there are also some interesting things here. So first of all, on the book card, you see the current status of the book. You also see the rating of the book. And in the book cover, you also see a small little globe icon here, which actually indicates that the review that you have posted for the book is public. So let's click here and the card opens up. You can see that I've already posted a review for this book, but I can edit it. And right now, you can see that I can edit my review here, and I have the option to make this review public or not. But another interesting thing that you can see on the screen right now is the rating meter. Now this is kind of a frequency meter because well, why not? Why just have drop downs everywhere? Let's have something more interesting. So you can actually change your rating just by sliding across this rating meter. Let's go back to the sheet here. Another interesting thing that you can see on the sheet is thoughts to ponder. Now, I always believe that a book is not just finished. You always reflect on that book. You also learn from that book. So what's happening here is that you get an interesting AI generated thoughts to ponder for this particular book. In this case, it tells you that, let's think about how does Aristotle concepts of eudaimonia relate to your personal definition of a fulfilling life. So these are some questions that you can reflect on. You can write them down, or you can discuss them in your reading club. So that's something interesting about the Red Books card. But there's another interesting aspect here, and you see this little chart icon. So if you click on that, you get all sorts of analytics and insights. So right now you can see that I have read total 209 books across 65 different genres. But my top genre is comics and graphic novels. Even I was a little surprised to know that, but well, that's how it is. So I have read a lot of comics and graphic novels here. I also get page count insights. So my longest read is Lord of the Rings. Well, obviously you can't miss that one. And my shortest one is Leibniz Monology, only 16 pages odd. You also get some reading insights that, my favorite genre is comics and graphic novels, making up to 13% of my completed books. But it gets really more interesting once you go down into your reading analysis, which is your reading patterns. So now you can see that it tells me that I have a strong preference from graphic novels, especially those written by Brian K. Vaughan. Yes, I have read most of his comic books, especially the Saga series and Why the Last Man, absolutely my favorites. But if you again scroll down a little bit, you see that it tells you about how diversified my reading interests have been. So these reading analysis or AI insights are not just some plain vanilla text. It actually analyzes what you have read and gives you some really interesting insights about that. So in this case, you can see that I have read some interesting design books like how to make sense of any mess, or quantifying the user experience. But it also tells me that I have read some philosophy books like Analects, and I've also read fiction books like Harry Potter and Sorcerer's Stone. So it tells me that how diversified the reading has been. So I would highly encourage that if you have some read books, get some insight into your reading patterns through the AI analysis. Now, if I go at the top, you see this particular interesting thing called as your archetype. So if I click on my archetype, it tells me that I've been a synthesizer. So I've been blending diverse worlds into a cohesive vision. And what I've done is combine different diverse domains from philosophy, technology, business, religion, fiction into a coherent tapestry of knowledge. So there are different kinds of archetypes. You can also get your own, and you can also share them with your friends. So if you just click on download, you will get an image which you can share on social media. So that's about the read book section. But if you also go on read later section, you also see another interesting chart icon here. And if you click on that, you do get the your typical genre analysis. But the interesting thing is the reading recommendation. So it's telling me that, okay, you have like 460 books odd in your read later section. So why not, start with the Court of Broken Knives? And it tells me that this book promises a dark and immersive experience that will transport you to a captivating world. So something which, after reading this particular, analysis, I'm like really intrigued to read this particular book. But it also tells you that how do you maintain your reading journey? How can you, track, or how can you tackle your backlog? So it tells me that you can just dedicate 20 minutes a day and just take up the book, turn some pages, and you will see that you can then clear your read later section pretty soon. So that's about the reading later section. So far we have talked about the books that you have imported from GoodReads, but it's also pretty easy to add new books. So let's see that. So let's click on add book, and I'll search for Euclid's Window. Here we are. And now you see that it also gives you a little nudge into why you should read this book. So it's telling me here that if you read Euclid's Window, you discover the captivating journey of geometry through time, from ancient origins to modern theories. So again, something pretty interesting, and you also get a little snippet about the author. So you can just add it to your library, give your current state. You can also add your purpose and just then add it to your collection. Now, speaking of adding books, well, one of the things that you have to also do is discover books. And I always feel that discovering books should be fun, not should be just a simple list which looks like a database. It should be more fun, it should be more visual. So if I click on the discover section here, you land up into something called as Trove or Treasure, where you will see a lot of interesting book covers. It's almost like you have gone into a library or a bookstore, and you see a n number of books there which you can just pick up and add it to your collection. So here also you can do the same thing. You can click on any of the books and you can add them to your wish list. You can also filter it by genre, and you can also search for any book that you would like, which is even beyond our collection. So the entire universe of book is open for you. But I want to take you to another interesting aspect of Discover, which is the mood constellation. So what we have done here is created a constellation of all the different kinds of moods here, and you can just click on any of those stars and get related books for that. So in this particular case, let's look at maybe like philosophical books here, and you can again click on any one of those cards and then add it to your collection. So the idea of mood constellation is to make book discovery more interesting, more fun, and also attach it to different moods. There's one more interesting aspect in the discover section, which is the plot cards. Now think of plot cards as a little interesting teaser of the book, which gives you a little insight into what the book is about, and if it's interesting then you can add it. So in this particular case we see a mystery book, and it says that in a world where whispers of equality dare to challenge the thunderous silence, a voice rises, fierce and unyielding. Now this is like pretty interesting. Even the first line is very interesting. I'm intrigued here. Let's reveal the book, and this is what the book is, and I can also get the book details here, and feel free to also add it to your wish list. So there are different kind of plot cards. It's a lot of fun because you get a little teaser into the book, and it's usually like very, very interesting, which sparks your interest in the book, and then you can just add it to your collection. So let's go back here. So going back, we have covered like most of the things on across different sections, but there are also some interesting things about searching and filtering. So if you go to your read books, you can simply search for any of the books. It's pretty fast. Or you can also filter by your genre. There is also a universal search available for all your books. So if you click here and you search for one of the books, let's say Bird by Bird, you see the book and you see in which section it currently belongs to. You can click on it and get the details of the book too. Now, I've covered most of the aspects of BookStates here, but I want to show you one more thing, which is your public profile or your reader profile. So if we click here, this is your public profile, which you can share with your friends. And what you see here is like some reading stats about yourself. That I have read about 67,000 odd books, 67,000 odd pages, sorry, and my average rating is 3.9. You know my favorite genre by now. It also tells you about my reading pace, my top authors, and how many books I have read year over year. But another interesting aspect is the reading timeline. So you can see that I've just read two books so far in 2025, but I have read like a little bit more in 24, and you can scroll through the list here. You can also you can also see the details of the book. So if you click here, you can get some details about the summary and the genre length and all the related metadata about the book. So the idea of a reader profile is that take this URL, share it with your friends, and also get theirs to see what they're reading and what their reading timeline looks like. So going back to BookStates, we have just started. There are many interesting features planned down the roadmap. There are community features coming up. There are more interesting features coming up for data analytics and insights about your books. So I would highly recommend to go and sign up at bookstates.app, and I can't wait to see you there. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.